Hello and welcome to Ewe Sew You. I'm Zoe. If this is your first time visiting me here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. This is my blog on all the crafts that I knit and weave and sew and any other crafts that I come along that take my fancy, or rather that I come across. Don't really come along crafts. You'll find I do ramble a little bit and sometimes say things a little bit strangely. That's because I'm not working from notes, which is fine. I know I've got a plan in my head, I just haven't written it down. So if I do go slightly off piece, I'll try my best to edit it out later. Okay, so I hope you've all had a lovely week. I've been on half term this week, which has been nice and relaxing. I've been away up to near Lincoln to see my father and his wife. That actually live a bit outside of Lincoln in a place called Grantham, which for those of you that have any interest in British history and politics, is where Maggie Thatcher was born. So yeah, she's born above a shop, not far from my father's house. But then it is a small town, so nothing's really very far. We went to Lincoln over the weekend, at the beginning of the half-term holiday on the Saturday, to have a little bit of a wander around, myself, my other half and my stepmother. You should have seen some footage in Lincoln at the beginning of this blog. It's a nice city. It's not a big city, it's easy enough to walk around. We popped into a wool shop called Number 4. I don't know the road that's on. Not overly familiar with Lincoln. It's a small shop, very pleasant, very welcoming. Not a massive amount of stock there, which means that it's got a nice airy feel to it. It's well curated stock. And there's an area to sit and knit and crochet, and I believe the lady that runs it's called Sarah. She's originally a crocheter and has been learning to knit over the past year or so. So we picked up some sock wool there and a needle so I could teach my stepmother how to knit toe-up socks. She's working on a Mina Phillips vanilla recipe. It seems to be going quite well so far. So hopefully I'll be able to see a full pair of hand knitted socks from my stepmother when I got at Christmas. After visiting Number 4, we went to a fabric shop on the Bale Gate, which is a nice shopping street. I forget the name of the shop, but it was predominantly upholstery type fabric, sort of hard, heavily woven stuff to be good curtains and cushions and that kind of thing. My stepmother bought some owls and polka dots to make cushions out of, and then we went on through Lincoln, down a steep hill, which is very aptly named. You'll have seen that in the video. I only filmed the top part of it. Wasn't really comfortable with filming in shops and filming my other half and my stepmother. A bit weird. Steep hill is very aptly named. It is the main hill in Lincolnshire. Lincolnshire is not known for hills. The cathedral is at the top of the hill and the high street is down the bottom. So we walk down steep hill, down past the canal, through the shopping centre to another fabric store called Fabric Corner, which is more dressmaking and has a workshop at the back that runs sewing lessons. So if you are in Lincoln and you want to learn to sew, Fabric Corner would be a good place to go. They also have a craft cafe next door that runs workshops as well. That's not too far from the University of Lincoln, where the Performing Arts Centre is, if I remember rightly. So I didn't buy anything in any of those stores myself, mainly because I've got wool and fabric in stash at the moment, ready for projects I've got lined up for the next few months. I do have some wool that I'm going to buy on payday. What are you doing, cat? There's a cat on the windowsill being silly with the laundry. So I do need to buy some wool for throwback sweater, which I'll probably buy on payday, and I am on the lookout for some nice stretch trouser fabric for some trousers that I've got planned to make. But otherwise I wasn't really looking to buy wool and fabric whilst I was there. We did go to Hobbycraft after visiting Fabric Corner and onto the railway modelling shop because my father is a model railway enthusiast. I did buy some things at Hobbycraft, so I'll show you that later in my acquisitions section of today's video. So that's me and my half term. I'm back at work tomorrow. Hey, today's Sunday. I tend to film on a Sunday. not for any particular reason than that's just when I get around to it. Particularly the monthly roundups tend to be filmed on a Sunday before the end of the month. So what am I wearing? Well, I have on my Vinterfjell cardigan, which I steeped from the jumper pattern by Skein, and I also have my completed Hunter's Moon shawl. So this is a brand new pattern. I'll just hold it up there for you. This is a Mina Phillips pattern. I was fortunate enough to test knit this. She released the pattern last weekend at Indie Untangled, part of the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival in New York State. I've knitted this out of Drops Flora, which is a lovely soft wool. So this is the blue. I've barely broken into the second ball. It comes in 50-gram balls. It's lovely and soft. It's 65% wool, 35% alpaca. So I have almost an entire ball of the blue left. I have quite a reasonable amount of the grey, probably about half the ball there, and a similar amount of the yellow left. The main colour is then held with mohair lace weight. I've used Drops Kid Silk. I bought 4 balls of this. This is a 25-gram ball, and I haven't even finished ball number 3. So the yarn consumption on this shawl is fantastic. I could have got away with only having one of the blue, because I could have chosen to do the I-cord bind off in my colour 3, which was the yellow. So grey was my colour 1, blue was my colour 2, yellow was my colour 3. One thing I will say is I got into quite a bit of trouble, particularly in this section, and I haven't actually fixed it in this section because it doesn't really show so much. This section here, which is meant to look like that. Okay. So these are faux brioche sections, so it's basically fisherman's rib. As you can see on the blue bit here, I just kept jumbling up which colour was going where. I mean, totally knit error. Let's be fair, the pattern is really nicely clearly written. But if you're more familiar with brioche, you might find the faux brioche a little bit of a head scratcher to get when you get going on it. And I would definitely recommend not knitting those sections when you are tired, because you just get confused. I got confused with what colour I was using. This section was really quite noticeable, but ripping back mohair is a pain, so I've actually fixed that with duplicate stitch afterwards. And once it's on, no one's going to notice, so that's all fine. It's going to be a really nice cosy shawl for the winter. It's the mohair in it. So this is my second test knit for Mina. My first one was the Cumulus hat. There we go, the Cumulus hat. There is a cowl pattern to go with this hat that I haven't yet purchased, but I do have the wool for. So when I bought the wool for this hat, it was on sale, so I bought enough to go for the cowl as well. The pattern doesn't call for it to be held with mohair, but I chose to with this wool because my wool choice was slightly thinner than the pattern called for, and also the green was super bright, so I held it with a darker green mohair, and it's really toned down the colour. I mean, you'll see from the wool I used for the shawl, just holding that greyish mauvish mohair has really sort of toned down and calmed down the yellow in particular. So mohair is good for adding warmth, but it's also good for just controlling your colours when you've got that lovely wool in the right weight, but it's just a little bit too bright for the item that you're making, which is what happened with this. I have a third test knit for Mina on the needles now, which is really exciting. I'll show you that in a bit. In terms of finished objects, and also I've got the shawl that's been finished this month, ready for the release at Rhinebeck. I've also finished the elephant that I keep telling you about, but that's been gifted now, so I will insert a picture here of the knitted elephant. So the elephant was knitted in Paintbox Baby DK. I did improvise a little bit with the dress as I was short on time to gift it before my colleague went on maternity leave, but she was really pleased with it in the end. It looks really cute, and it's done the job. You'll have seen the video on my crafting trousers already, so I finished those this month. But otherwise it's been quite a slow month, where it's been really hectic, parents' evenings and all that kind of thing, and then going away at half term was always going to limit my productivity a little bit this month. However, I do have some nearly finished projects. My band that you saw me warp up on my loom is almost finished. I won't show it to you now because quite honestly it looks the same. I'm a bit behind on my weaving targets, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. And I also have, for the Minerva Craft blog, a new project on the go. So Minerva very kindly sent me some velour, stretch velour, velvet fabric. Well, it's velour rather than velvet because it is a knit fabric. I've shown you that fabric before, and I am in the process of making the Freya sweater dress from Tilly and the Buttons stretch book. It is just waiting for its hems on the sleeves and on the skirt. I've done the cowl neck version. The cowl pattern actually comes in the book, so I haven't had to draft that myself, and I've chosen to do the 3/4 length sleeves, although once the hem they'll be closer to elbow length on me. The skirt will be probably about an inch above, 2 inches above my knee. It falls just above my knee at the moment, prior to being hemmed. It's a really super quick make, really easy, even though my sewing machine is still being a little bit of a sod. But it is quite a simple make. I haven't finished the seams in the way that I would with the woven fabric, because knits don't fray. I can always go back and finish them off at another point if I get around to it, but I'm not too concerned about it. It fits really nice. I'll probably make it slightly bigger around the chest if I was to make it in future, and possibly lengthen it slightly as well, so that once it's hemmed it falls just above the knee. So I quite like that length, but then I wear my dresses over leggings anyway, so being slightly shorter is not an issue. But yeah, really pleased with that so far. So I just need to get that hemmed and photos taken and the blog written for Minerva. So they're my nearly finished projects. Then we're on to works in progress. So, I promised you I'd show you those socks, and I haven't got them out yet. Just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to grab my project bag. Okay, so these have been on the needles for a little while. They are knit in Paintbox sock yarn. So Paintbox sock yarn. Let's get the right band. Is 75% wool, 25% polyamide, which is essentially nylon. I bought a bundle of I think 4 different colours to do some socks with, and this is the dark brown with flashes of green. They are textured socks. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of the texturing. I'm just trying out a few different textures as I go, so I'm making these as I go along. I've got Vickle braids, computer cross, and then pearl, knit pearl patterning. I've got some diamonds down the bottom, got some moss stitch here. I'm going to be doing some chevrons next, just to sort of try out different textures. So I'm knitting them 2 at a time, toe up. So I cast on the toes separately, put one onto needle holders, then cast on the second toe, and then return them both to the same needle. And I'm knitting them on higher sharps. Personally, I use 2.5mm needles to get sock gauge. My stepmother is quite a tight knitter, so she's knitting hers on 3mm sock needles. So yeah, it just depends on what your personal tension is like as to which needles you're going to need. I aim for about 8 stitches an inch. I think that's what I was aiming for. It's the Mina Phillips tension, because I knit quite a lot of her sock patterns. Her sock clubs. So that's those out of the way. Then we have the new test pattern from Mina Phillips. So this I've got to get done by the 13th of January, which is plenty of time. It's a jumper pattern. This is the wool that I'm using. It is Cascade 220 in their fingering weight, and I've got dark blue, not quite navy, it's a bit brighter than navy, and then this sort of greyish blue for the contrast colour. I haven't got massively far so far. I obviously did a tension square and realised I need to go up a needle size to get gauge. I had to wait for the wool to arrive as well, but I have got oodles of time to knit an adult jumper. So this is what I've got so far. So not very far at all. It's done a few repeats. There's a beautiful cable coming down on the raglan increases, because this is, if you follow me in this blog, you'll have seen her finished version of this. This is the adult Big Red, so the adult version of her Little Red children's sweater. And I'm holding it upside down. I realise that's the neckline. Well, I'm going to come back and pick up the neckband once I've finished. So my Big Red is rather blue. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the fabric that I'm getting. I'm pleased I went with the light blue contrast. I did pick up a beige as well. I think the light blue is going to work better. It's another one that seems quite low on yard consumption. Well, yarn consumption rather. I've bought 5 balls, well 5 skeins of the dark blue and 2 of the light blue. I'm knitting the 47-inch size. So that should be enough yardage for that size. It is a commercial yarn, so if I do run out, it's not a massive issue. I use a cable needle when I'm cabling, so that's my cable needle. I use the one with the bend in it, which I find easier than the straight cable needles. I have attempted to do the cabling on this sweater without a cable needle, as it's only a 4-stitch cable, so 2 over 2. I can do 1 over 1 cables without a cable needle, but I was finding the 4 cable a bit of a faff, and I'd quite like to get the bulk of the jumper done this month if I can, or no, by the end of November if I can, so that I can wear it over the winter to get it out of the way nice and early. I've also got another Mina Phillips jumper that I bought the pattern for that I haven't knitted yet either, so I'd like to get that done before Christmas as well. And obviously the throwback, so I do want to get cracking on Big Red, or Big Blue as mine will be. So I find the cable needle is just a little bit less faff for me than trying to cable without a needle. If it works for you, great. I'm just, yeah, I was not getting along with it very well at all. 1 by 1 is fine, but yeah, the 2 over 2 is just a bit tricky. So that is my knitting works in progress, my sewing works in progress. I've mentioned my weaving work in progress. Remember, I'm aiming for 6 bands for Harry Potter. Don't think I'm going to make it. I haven't finished the first one yet. So my other main work in progress at the moment that I'm actively working on is Christmas crafting. I know it's end of October and I'm only just getting started on Christmas crafting. We're not all getting made Christmas presents this year. I've done it before. I've knitted everybody's Christmas presents from stash in the past. I was working in a call centre and really had no money. So my mother got a neck warmer and ear warmer out of the wool that she used to knit my school jumpers out of when I was 5. And literally I bought nothing that year for Christmas other than wrapping paper. I knitted everything from stash. So that was good from a budget point of view. I've done handmade hampers in the past. I've knitted my sister a lace kid silk cardigan before for Christmas. That was pricier. Overall, it's not bad. And actually, knitting from commercial is not too expensive either if you're thinking of gift knits. I tend to do jumpers from commercial. I haven't yet knit a single garment from hand-dyed. It just works out too expensive for me. And there's nothing wrong with the majority of the commercial yarns. You can now get natural fibres in commercial yarns as well. It's not all squeaky plastic acrylic. But I digress. Christmas crafting. I've picked up a few cross-stitch magazines recently, which is something I occasionally dip in and out of. I used to do an awful lot of cross-stitch as a teenager, mainly because it took up less space when I was travelling to and from boarding school. So I've done quite a lot of cross-stitch over the years. But, I am currently working on, I'll just show you the picture that came with the kit. This is off the front of a magazine. This is from the World of Cross Stitching, so it's the free gift on last month's issue. So it's a snowman bauble. You cross stitch the front and the back. I've started with the back because why wouldn't you? You'll also see actually my top tip, hole punch, a long paper with a pattern on it to organise my threads. If you have a separate card, I used to have strips of magnets on holes on the side to put my threads in, and it would hold the needle at the same time. They do get separated sometimes from your project. Whereas if you're attaching your threads to the pattern itself, it's not going to go anywhere. You don't lose them and have to replace them with something else. So I've started on the back. So there we go. There's my snowman's rear end. This is stitched on plastic canvas, so you get two of these squares of plastic canvas, one for the front, one for the back, and then you stick them together. And it's a snow globe. I only started that day before yesterday, so it's coming along quite nicely. There is metallic thread to use as well, so that is going to be a joy. So that's what I've been up to half term. That's finished objects. That's works in progress. Now we're on to the fun stuff. Now we're on to the acquisitions. I've actually been pretty good this month. I've already shown you my delivery from Pound Fabrics with those velours, so I won't show you those again because you've already seen them. However, I have obviously bought the yarn for the Mina Phillips Big Red, which I've just shown you, and I've brought a couple of bits of fabric and then a few bits from Hobbycraft. So first up, whilst we were up in Lincoln, we went over to Sheffield to IKEA. There is another IKEA in Nottingham, but I believe the Sheffield one is larger. My dad had a chair to pick up for his new house. So I got into the fabric section. We do need to put new curtains up where I'm living at the moment. We've been here for over a year and the curtains are not very nice. They're quite thin. The sun comes through in the morning and wakes you up when you don't want to be woken up. So we are intending on making new curtains. Didn't buy curtains. Didn't buy fabric for curtains either. We hadn't measured the windows because we didn't know we were going to IKEA until we got there. I would be quite happy with what I've bought as curtains if I bought enough. My other half would rather have plain curtains, so this will probably be cushions, and it's lovely. This is Lender Blue. It is nice and affordable. Like much of the fabric in IKEA, it's about £5 a metre. You cut it yourself and then they weigh it to put the price on. So I have 2.1 metres here, so that cost me £10.50, which is pretty good. Reminds me of a lot of the Lady McElroy prints. It's on kind of like a canvassy type heavyweight woven fabric, so that's going to make some really nice cushions for the sofas. Possibly recover my footstool if I've got enough, because that's hey, 2 metres, it's going to do plenty of cushions, let's be fair. So there's that. The other fabric that I have bought was from Sherwood's when they were doing their wool discount, and this is a wool chalet, so it's 100% wool, but it's quite drapey and it's quite thin, and it's a lovely print. So nice and floral, nice and blue. It's going to make a lovely dress. First time I've bought a wool chalet. You see it's got a lovely drape to it. I always anticipate wools being a bit more heavier weight, but this is actually more like a shirt or shirt dress type fabric, I think. I do want to make Anza from Itch to Stitch, so this fabric is definitely a possibility for that. Fits in with my colour palette for this season as well. You see, it's been a bit of a blue theme to my purchases this month. See, the Pan fabrics were brown, Minerva fabric was brown, but everything else I've bought has been blue, from the yarn to the fabrics. I'm deviating from that one. I buy my throwback, that's going to be going back to the browns with a bit of mustards and greens in there, I think, probably for the colours, maybe, we'll see. The other things I picked up were from Hobbycraft, as I say. So first of all, picked up a book. How lovely is this book? Embroidered Woodland Creatures by Amy Ray. So this is a book of iron-on embroidery transfers. I'm not a massive embroiderer. I would like to be. I would love to be able to do all the stitches. Some of them come up in cross stitch from time to time. Like French knots, I'm rubbish at them. I have done a little bit of embroidery. I've done a little bit of crewel work. So this is going to be me extending my skills in embroidery and widening the range of stitches that I use. Obviously Google is going to help with that because this doesn't tell you lots of stitches. It gives you the basic ones, but it's not a learn how to embroider book. It's a here are some cute patterns you can iron onto things and then stitch. So I can see this going on bags and shirts and jackets and cushions and all sorts. So that's that. And then Christmas crafting purchases. Yeah. I like Christmas. My nativity scene is crocheted. So I do like the handmade Christmas decorations. We had one plaster of Paris one that nativity scene that Dad did when I was about 9. He used the power sander on it in the kitchen on Christmas Eve. Mum wasn't impressed. The crochet one's very cute and it didn't make anywhere near the same mess. I need to do some more characters for it. Got Baby Jesus, got Mary and Joseph, got the Angel Gabriel. I haven't done the Kings, I don't think. No, I haven't done the Kings. I haven't done the Shepherds. I haven't done the Animals. There's lots I can do for that. But I did buy in Hobbycraft some tree decorations. So we have a stitched one in felt and glue and stitching. That's Partridge in a Pear Tree. And I got some needle felting polar bears. And some needle felting woodland animals. Aren't they the cutest? I hope mine turn out anywhere close to that. Won't be identical, but I'm hoping it's close. Apologise if you can hear my cat in the background. He's trying to wake my partner up. So that's everything for this month. I'm on the lookout for my next crafting box. I know it's on its way. La Poste has told me it is in the UK. So sorry about the cat. So I'll obviously show you what I get in that when it arrives. I've got obviously knitting on the go and Christmas crafting on the go. So my sewing machine is still being a little bit of pain, so we'll see how much sewing I get done. It's probably going to be more of a knitting, cross-stitchy, Christmas crafting type month, I would imagine. Otherwise, I shall say goodbye and I shall see you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Share with your friends if you think they would be interested in what I am making, and obviously pop on over to the ZozieM blog for more updates on what I'm up to. I might put some of the needle felting up there, that could be quite cool as a blog post. So I shall see you soon, and I shall say goodbye for now and go and sort the cat out.